after two straight devastating losses at home to Washington and Nebraska. After starting the season 4-0, the 4-2 Terps head out west to the West Coast to the Rose Bowl in UCLA to face the red hot Bruins and their multi-million-dollar quarterback, Nico Iamaleava. It's the Flex Zone Podcast, yours truly, God's favorite host, the host with the most, breaking down Terps, breaking down everything you need here on the Flex Zone Podcast. The ones, the head of the sports podcast table, only place giving you that Terps coverage and all the other coverage that you love, how you want it, when you need it. Terps, UCLA, Maryland, UCLA, they are rekindling an old time matchup. We'll talk about it here today on the preview for the Maryland Terps as they head on the road for a Big Ten must win. Yes, yours truly, God's favorite host. Make sure you tackle that thumbs up. Make sure you sack that subscribe button. And make sure you blitz that bell. Comment down below your prediction for the game, keys to the game, X Factor, anything I may be missing. If you're going to the game, what are you doing in LA? Beautiful weather. It should be a fun time. Let's look at this matchup as Maryland heads out west to face UCLA. UCLA coming off two big wins after some changes at the head coach, and this team getting it together. They are nationally ranked very high as far as the recruits on this team. So it's intriguing to see them get it together. They are 2-4. Maryland 4-2. As you see, it's a 3.5-point spread. UCLA is favored at home. It's pretty much a pick 'em in my opinion, over 51.5. So they are expecting some points for this matchup. This game is a 7 p.m. kick. It is at the Rose Bowl. It will be airing on FS1, Fox Sports 1, and as always, on the Maryland Sports Radio Network. This will be the first matchup between Maryland and UCLA since a home-and-home series in 1954 and 1955. Maryland's first ever trip this is to the Rose Bowl. The first meeting in October of 1954, October 1st. Number 4 UCLA beat the defending national champion number 6 Maryland 12-7 at the LA Coliseum. And then the following year in College Park, Maryland beat then number 1 UCLA 7-0. Offense was optional, I guess. Number 6 Maryland was back then as well. Halfback Ed Verreeb scored the game's only touchdown on the opening series of the second half on a 4th-and-1 17-yard touchdown. They held UCLA, did Maryland, to minus 21 rushing yards in that game. That was the Terps' last win over the top-ranked team in the nation, obviously, there. Now, Maryland does lead the FBS in turnover margin with a plus 10 differential, forcing 13 turnovers while only committing 3 on offense. 7th nationally in sacks, 2nd in the Big Ten at 3.3 per game as well. Now, looking at the defense also, you cannot discount that they are holding teams to a 29.5% conversion rate on third down, 4th in the Big Ten, 17th in the FBS. So they lead both the Big Ten and the nation with 12 interceptions through the first, 6 games, and interception yardage was 282, 3 pick sixes this season, most since 2018 as well. The plus 10 turnover differential, they have forced 13 turnovers, only committing 3, one of 7 FBS teams to not allow a single point on its giveaways this season as well. And they have not allowed a team to score on its first drive of the season as well. And they are doing fantastic in that. They're one of 3 Big Ten teams that have kept its opponents off the scoreboard in its first drive of the game. 20 sacks this season, 2nd in the Big Ten, 7th in the FBS, 3.3 sacks per season after only averaging 1.17 last year. Ted Montequino doing a great job. 2.1 sacks is the second largest, only to Western Michigan at 2.54. Zaire Mathis and Sidney Stewart, the dominant duo off the edge, have at least a half sack in 5 of 6 games this season. And Mathis and Stewart are both tied for 3rd in the Big Ten in total sacks with 4.5 so far this season. It feels like deja vu for the Terps the last 2 games. 2 tough losses, 2 home losses, 2 close losses, and it ended with a touchdown in the final minute from their opponent. And the offense did have time in both games to respond, but couldn't find the final push to get victory as well. Now the Terps will get a change of scenery Go out west. It's going to be a beautiful 80, 86 degrees, damn near 90 degrees, clear day at the Rose Bowl, as mentioned on FS1. So that'll be something to look forward to as well. Now, as mentioned, the first matchup since 1955, and they'll be playing in the Rose Bowl for the first time. Now, UCLA last year was 5-7, 3-6 in the Big Ten. Now, through the first three games, it looked like one of the worst teams in the Big Ten, and it was crazy because they had a humiliating 35-10 loss to New Mexico that led to Deshaun Foster, former UCLA great at the running back position. He was fired. And now head coach Tom Skipper looks like they have found their footing. 24/7 Sports ranks them as the seventh most talented roster in the Big Ten. Big Ten team recruiting composite score. Now they haven't played up to that level, but in October they have 42-37 over Penn State. They were then number 7, led to James Franklin getting fired. They weren't even a top. Probably Penn State was probably, honestly, that game wasn't even that close, 42-37. It was more of a, could have been 50-30. That's how much they were dominating Penn State. And a 38-13 of Michigan State, another Big Ten foe, on the road. That game started at 9 a.m. Pacific time for them, so they rose to the occasion as well. Guys to watch. You see him right there. He leads them in passing and rushing. Nico Iamaleava, get used to saying his name. You're going to hear it a lot on Saturday evening. Redshirt sophomore. We remember he transferred from UCLA to UCLA from Tennessee, in April. In college, highest profile case of NIL departure. The 2024 Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year semifinalist took some time to get adjusted, but he has shown why he's worth that high price tag and reputation. 66% completion percentage, 1,134 yards, and leads the Bruins as well, like I mentioned, with 335 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. He's thrown for 346, 5 scores, and run for 131 and 3 scores as well. He's pretty much the straw that stirs the drink. If I had one key, if they can contain him and limit him, which we'll get to, they have a chance to win. I honestly think it's going to come down to whatever quarterback plays better. Obviously, Nico's more of a dual threat. Washington's more of a pocket passer. But whichever quarterback plays the best and doesn't make that crucial mistake, I think this team or that team will win. Roderick Pleasant, the Richard defensive back, number 18, 377 downs for the Bruins, the most snaps for any defensive player on the team. He's the top DB. He has made games unpleasant for opposing receivers. He's taken out the number 1 receiver. 11 catches on 25 throws to his man, breaking up 4 passes as well. He was an Oregon transfer, elite speed, and he can track down receivers as well. He was a track star with the Oregon Ducks for 2 years. 10.16 100-yard dash. Now, the way you can get at him, though, is in the shallow game. 98 of the 107 receiving yards have come after the catch. So yak yards are going to be very, very huge for Maryland tomorrow. John Vaughn's redshirt senior linebacker. Remember that name, number 6. He's a year-round heavy hitter for UCLA, 5th season playing football and baseball. He was demoted from starter to reserve in 2022 and played just 4 games in 2024. But the football career, which seemed to be in his twilight, is back in full gear. He leads the Big Ten with 58 total tackles in 6 games, 1.5 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback carries from the heart of the UCLA defense. So look out for Mr. John Vaughn's. You see him right there, 58 tackles. I mean, Daniel Wingate is one of the top tacklers per game in the nation at 9.3, damn near 10. He's got 56. Vaughn's has 58. So he's a middle linebacker. You're going to see him flying all around tomorrow. He's going to be looking to make some tackles. Will Carroll, the punter. We love showing love to special teams here. Number 49. We got a great punter matchup. Bryce McPherson on the Terps side. He was brought in from Tulane, and he is precise in punting with 5 of 16 punts, pinning opponents inside the 20. Now, he has just 1 punt for over 50 yards, so he doesn't have the strongest leg, 40.5 yards per punt. Now, holding the UCLA offense will be a priority for Maryland, but Carroll has been called upon just 2 times in the last 2 weeks. UCLA, they can run the football, rushing offense. When the quarterback is the team's leading rusher, you know how it goes. But in UCLA, it's not a deficiency because Iamaleava leads the team, but you got redshirt junior Anthony Woods, junior Javion Thomas, and redshirt junior Jalen Berger, each transfers this offseason. Now, they will use all of these guys plus Iamaleava. So you gotta contain that run game because you're gonna get a different type of running back every play, it seems like. Woods, Tom, and Berger all have at least 35 carries and 4.4 yards per carry as well. Thomas leads the backfield with 50 carries and has more consistent usage as well. The most efficient back has been Berger, who had 89 yards against Michigan State as well. So they all have momentum and they're playing at the right time against Maryland. Now they do struggle against the run. They have given up 5.1 per carry, 195.8 per game, 11th and 12th worst in college football. So they give up damn near 200 yards on the ground. Run the football, Pep Hamilton, Mike Loxley. Employ your offense to be physical at the point of attack. Now, they gave up 298 rushing yards to New Mexico in a loss that prompted the coaching change as well. Now, they did do their best last week against Michigan State, holding them to 87 yards on 3.5 yards per carry, but they are very vulnerable on the ground. Something to look forward to. UCLA and Maryland are two of the three most penalized teams in the Big Ten. The Bruins lead the conference with 49 penalties and 430 yards, and the Terps are third with 42 penalties, 394 penalty yards as well. But they have cleaned it up the last few weeks, have both teams, but both teams drew 8 penalties last week. Cross country travel. We know Maryland left on what was it? I believe yesterday on Thursday. So it's going to be interesting to see can they overcome the cross country travel. The expansion of the roster and the conferences, it has led to more travel deficiencies. Now, entering the season, teams that had to travel across 2 or more time zones to play a Big Ten game was 8 and 28. Oh, they've only won 8 out of 28. So they're 8 and 20 out of 28 games, 2 or more time zones, which is a key for Maryland because you're going from furthest east you can go to furthest west you can go. So that kind of sucks as well. Through 7 weeks this season, teams crossing multiple time zones sit at 7 and 6 overall, though. Now, teams that have gone to the West Coast are 2 and 4, with the only wins coming from Ohio State and Indiana. Ohio State beat Washington, and Indiana beat Oregon this past week as well. Fourth quarter turnaround. Loxley has insisted the fourth quarter performance is a critical part of Maryland's identity, calling winning the fourth quarter something paramount of championship teams. They were tied 17-17 with their opponents in fourth quarter scoring through 4 games before losing the quarter by 21 points against Washington and 10 points against Nebraska. There you go. They've started good, but down the fourth quarter, they have not been able to close as Maryland. And that's going to be a key for them moving forward because we know they go into a tough part of their schedule. They still have Indiana. They still have Michigan. They still have Michigan State on the road. They still have Rutgers on the road. They still have to play Illinois on the road. These are things that we are going to be looking at the rest of this season because they are no more gimmies. This is a must win because if you lose this, you get to 4-3, 3 straight losses. You come back to face Indiana, 4-4. So it's not going to be looking that great. And as we look at the schedule here real quick, you can see it's not going to get any easier. Like I said, you got at UCLA, you got Indiana, you got at Rutgers, which is no cakewalk. You got at Illinois, which they'll probably be ranked potentially. Michigan and Michigan State. So you're going to be struggling to get to 6 because if you lose this, you're 4-3. You still need 2 more wins. Can you beat Rutgers and maybe Michigan State? But then again, the season, like I said, would just be back to where we all started. I said before the season, 6-0. I mean, 5-1, 6-0 start. You get to at least possibly 7-8 wins. But I did have them ultimately at 6-6. Now, they were better than even I projected personally, and that's from my fan point of view and analyst point of view. But looking at 4-2, then you get to 4-3, another loss. Then coming back to face Indiana, go to Rutgers, potentially at 4-4, loses a 4 in a row. At Illinois, Michigan, and Michigan State, no gimmies, no gimmies. So that would be tough for this team. I'm not going to lie. So it's going to come down to what Locke and his coaching staff can do as well. But let's get to the keys to the game. I always put these keys when it comes to the Terps and road games. Start fast. They got to start fast. I like how they've done it in the game. They've started fast in the first quarter. No turnovers. You're a freshman team. They're a pretty young team. You don't want to have any turnovers on the road, especially in conference play, going east to west, no turnovers. And my last key just for the whole team is finish strong. ABC, always be closing because we've seen them score 17 points. We've seen them be up at halftime by 10. We've seen them go into the fourth quarter, up by double-digit points, but they have not been able to close the deal. So they got to start fast, not commit any turnovers, and they got to always be closing. Offensively, protect Malik Washington. They've only given up 3 sacks, has the Maryland offensive line 3 sacks all year. So, well, the guys up front, you guys are doing magnificent. Great job with what you're doing, protecting Malik Washington. You guys deserve an applause. Yeah, well deserved. 3 sacks all year, 2 to Washington. The other one was when we had backups in, but 3 sacks all year in pass protection is great. This offensive line is good in pass pro. They struggle in run production, but this is the key. Running the football. I think if they can run the ball, that is going to be a key. They are giving up almost 200 yards per game on the ground. 11th and 12th worst in regards to yards per game and yards per carry. They can rush for over 175 yards, get Nolan Ray 15 to 20 touches. I think that is paramount for this team. Malik Washington maybe take a few. We'll use Williams as well. But I want to see Nolan Ray involved as part of that. But rush for over 175 yards. Even though they did good against Michigan State, Maryland has to come into this game committed to running the football and use different types of ways to run the football. They got Nolan Ray outside. They got Nolan Ray in space. They got offensive linemen, extra offensive linemen, and they use extra tight ends. They use different formations. They got out of that shotgun. So those are things they're going to have to do. Win time of possession because you want to limit the possessions this offense has. So I think it's very, very imperative to win time of possession. Take the crowd out of it because they're going to be lit. They're going to be into it. And I need Maryland to keep their foot pedal to the metal, foot on the gas, all gas, no brakes, and keep the defense fresh. Less plays for them, the better. No drops. Last week, I think they did a pretty decent job with that. And explosive plays. Last week, they only had 1 play over 20 yards. That's considered an explosive play. Let's see if we can get 3 or more explosive plays. That could be a run of over 20 yards, a reception of over 20 yards. They only had 1 play total. They had no runs over 20 yards, 1 reception over 20 yards. That was 29 yards. So let's get 3 to 5 explosive plays over 20 yards. Pep Hamilton, open up the offense. I don't think the training wheels are on Malik, but let's open up the vault a little bit. Let's spread things out. Let's attack down the field and really try to open up this offense so defenses can't just, press our receivers and blitz Washington, play man-to-man and hope that that's going to contain what we do for this offense. They have to do a better job of opening up the playbook. Defensively, keep Nico Iamaleava in the pocket, under 250 total yards. So that means passing, rushing, keep them under 200 yards passing and under 50 yards rushing. I think it's very going to be the key to this game. If there's really a key I would like to see, because if they can contain him, he is the straw that stirs the drink. He is the key that goes in the ignition and starts the car, because what he can do on the ground, he may not be the best thrower of the football, but his athleticism can take him to another game, and they can run the ball as well as anybody. Keep them under 150 yards rushing. They had over 200 yards rushing last week. They got about 4 different running backs that can carry the ball. They got over, including Nico, they got 5 to 6 guys who will probably touch the ball and carry it at some point in this game, including receivers. You got to keep them under 150 yards rushing. And in that, make them one-dimensional. Make him have to throw the ball 35, 40 times. That way you can pin your ears back. And my next key, 3 or more sacks. Zaire Mathis, Sidney Stewart, can you both get a sack and a half? Can someone else on the defensive line in the front 7 show up to the party with you? 3 or more sacks, I think, would be very, very imperative for this team. And get off the field on 3rd down. Don't let them extend drives. Don't let them continue to move the ball up and down the field and tire you out. Get off the field. That's been a problem with the Terps defense in the second half. They haven't been able to get off the field. They've been tired. They haven't been able to find a pass rush. They've committed careless and just unacceptable penalties, as we've talked about, because I think whichever team can commit the least amount of penalties, I think will have a good chance in this game as well. And special teams, no mental errors. We see that, UCLA doesn't punt often, and their punter doesn't have the strongest leg, but he gets the ball inside of the 20. What was it? Mr. Will Carroll. He 16 of his punts on the season have pinned opponents inside the 20, but he's just averaged 40 yards per punt, and just 1 of his punts have gone for over 50 yards. So if you could force this team to punt, you could get good field position. So no mental errors, no muffing punts, no going. If the ball is plant your heels at the 10 and don't go back anymore. Don't catch the ball inside the 5. Don't try to do too much on the return. Don't fumble the ball. Block the guys you're supposed to block on field goals and punts. Make your kicks, make your punts, but no mental errors on special teams. No stupid holding or illegal blocking the backs. No mental errors on special teams, because a game like this, special teams could really be important, as could field position. Now, as far as my prediction to the game, I'm a little nervous. I thought this was a game they were definitely going to win about 2 weeks ago. I said, wow, this team could potentially be 6-1. Because I didn't think they would win every game. I'm not gonna lie. I said 5-1 to start because I thought Washington or Nebraska, one of them would have beat us, and they end up losing both. So is it the same old Terps? Yes, but they're competing to a degree, because I'm not going to get rid of that label or shed that label until they can do what they need to do tomorrow. Go on the road on a Big Ten, win a big game. I know the record doesn't indicate it, but the teams they've beaten, the level of competition, the talent they have, the overall road trip of east to west, the Rose Bowl, we're going to have 50, 60,000 UCLA Bruins fans who are feeling this team is back. If they win, they get to 3-4, 3-1 in the Big Ten. They're still alive in the Big Ten, and they're only 3 games away from being bowl eligible themselves. So, and a head-to-head over Maryland. So this is going to be crucial for Maryland. Now, I don't know. Like I said, I say whatever quarterback plays better wins. Nico or Malik Washington. I just feel like Nico's going to make a play, and I feel like this run game is going to be a little too much for Maryland to stop. And I think it's going to wear them down throughout the course of 4 quarters. And I think Maryland may commit that crucial mistake, whether it's a coaching error, a penalty, a turnover, a drop pass, just some sort of miscue or self-inflicted that we've seen, especially on the road in big games where we know Mike Locksley has struggled immensely, unfortunately, in the Big Ten. I think in Big Ten conference play, what is his record? I want to look that up. Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, his Big Ten record is not good. His Big Ten record is 16-40. So there you go. He's 16-40. So it sucks. 16-40. He was 16. Well, he was 16-40 coming into the season. So I believe with losses to Washington and Nebraska, that's 16-42. He beat Wisconsin on the roll 17-42. So 17-42. That's not going to get it done, my guy. And we know you're on the hot seat. I would keep you through next year with some of the people you're bringing in, give you a chance to develop with this young core. 2 young teams, very high recruits. I just think Maryland's going to make that crucial mistake. Like I said, turnover, penalty, coaching miscue, a drop pass, some self-inflicted. And I think Nico is going to make the play because he's a little more experienced than Malik with his legs to extend the drive, or to get outside the pocket and extend the drive or extend the play and make that throw down the field to a receiver you're not even expecting to catch the ball for a big gain. Or like I said, this running game may wear Maryland down by the time we get to the third quarter where they're gassed. And I think that's one thing Maryland still needs on the D line is a D tackle, a D lineman in the middle of that defense that can stuff the run, that can really disrupt things in the middle to allow Mathis, allow Stewart, allow Wingate to run free and do what they need to do, because you see teams are able to double team, chip and block those guys. There's no one else that can really get pressure. So I think they really need a guy in the middle that can really clog up that middle, stop the run, push the pocket, and really, really help what they want to do on defense. But I think UCLA wins. I think we get another shootout. I think we get a West Coast shootout, like the Wild Wild West we know. And I think it's a situation where, oh man, I'm thinking it's gonna be a lot of points. I think it's gonna be a lot of points on both ends. Like I said, I could see, UCLA coming out hot, and I'm scared of that. But I think Maryland covers, and I think it's a 37-34 UCLA victory, 3-point win. UCLA beats Maryland. Maryland falls to 4-3. Stay tuned for more content. We'll be live watching the game. We're gonna be live streaming the game. I know you probably didn't make it to the end of this video, but hit the bell, blitz the bell, tackle the thumbs up, so other Maryland fans can find out about this video. We love to be in the YouTube algorithm. And as always, make sure you sack that subscribe button. Give it a nice stiff arm. And like I said, we'll be live tomorrow watching the game. Starts at 7. And we will be going right into AEW Wrestle Dream as well. So comment down below your thoughts on the game, your prediction. I have UCLA winning 37-34. I think Nico Iamaleava is the difference. And unfortunately, it seems like they've arisen a potential Heisman candidate player with his upside. We'll see how he throws the ball, but if Maryland can't contain him, he can run for 70, 80 yards and throw for another 180, 190. You know what I mean? So we don't want him over 200, 300 yards total offense, but they got to contain that brother. If they can stop him and limit his ability to, gash them for big plays, and they cannot beat themselves, they have a chance. I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland wins because it is a must win, but I think UCLA pulls out a tight, close nip tuck game and gets to 3-4. Let me know your comments down below. Gave you all I had on this review or preview. We'll be reviewing the game because we'll be live, as mentioned, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Maryland, UCLA. Yours truly, God's favorite host. I'll see you when I see you. More content, more Maryland previews, all the content's on the channel. Check it out. Let me know your thoughts, what you're looking forward to. We'll see you tomorrow for Maryland and UCLA, 7 p.m. Fox Sports 1. And of course, here on the Mothership YouTube on the Flex On Podcast. Only place giving you sports how you want it, when you need it. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for watching. Go Terps. I'm afraid of a hot UCLA team, hot like the weather in LA, and even with the momentum of beating some of the top teams in the country. We'll see you tomorrow for the game, everybody. Go Terps.